Young and Restless early spoilers November 10th to 14th. Nick's volcanic rage and Holden's bombshell confessions. As we always do on early edition day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week, and then we're going to dive into what's ahead next week. Young and Restless spoilers. Claire heads home with new info. So on Wednesday, November 5th, we have Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron, packing up and telling Holden that she is going to head back to Genoa City. And he wants to be honest with Claire about his past, and about this big secret he's been keeping related to Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver. So Holden tells her that he met Audra when he was bartending at Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun and Mitch Bacall's, Roger Howarth Club, The Shadow Room. And we're going to get some flashbacks of some of this. Audra was a regular, and she came in with this kind of a creepy guy who got handsy, and Holden saw Audra steal the guy's wallet. And then she asked Holden to lie and say that he found the wallet at the bar when the guy shows up the next day looking for it. This dude's freaking out because a $500,000 check that was made out to cash was in it, which means anybody who signs it can cash it. The guy was saying that Audra and Holden stole it. Young and Restless spoilers. Holden passed with Audra revealed. But Mitch defended Holden, and he promised the guy that Audra would pay. But by then she had up and left LA. So Holden was quite stunned to see her in Genoa City, is what he tells Claire. Holden assumes that Audra was able to cash the check. And then she later sent him $100,000 with a thank you note basically to buy his silence. And Holden says that's when Audra moved to London, and she changed her last name from Cortez to Charles. She met Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, there if you remember. So Claire wants to find the guy that Audra stole from, but Holden says if she pushes on that he will also be implicated. So, looks like she isn't going to find the guy and say where Audra is on Young and the Restless. Detective Burrow investigates Noah's mysterious crash on YandR. Detective Burrow, Matt Cohen, who seems to be either a very fake or very shoddy detective, comes to see Mitch and says things didn't work out as they planned. And then Burrows asks, "What's the new plan?" But Mitch quiets the guy down as Sienna enters and tells her that Detective Burrow is looking into Noah's accident. And Sienna says other people have been asking about Noah as well. So Burrow starts asking her about the night of Noah's accident, and about his parents showing up. And Sienna says that Noah paid his check and he left. That's the last time she saw him. She says she called his phone for an update, but Nick answered. But Mitch and Burrow both want to know why Sienna was calling Noah. And then Sienna kind of sidesteps the question. And when she was grilled about her whereabouts, she asks if Burrow is accusing her of being involved in Noah's accident. Now, Burrow claims he's just trying to find out what happened that night, but it's all very sketchy. Noah awakens with amnesia as Nick vows revenge on Young and the Restless. So Noah is awake from his coma, ready for the bandages to come off when Nick shows up, and says the small scars that he will have from this are just going to make him look tougher. Noah wants to know what happened because he can't remember a thing. Nick says it was a single-car accident, and he's been in an induced coma for a few days. Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, and Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, are up at the hospital as well. The doctor says they need to do another, I think CT scan or MRI, and that comes when Sharon's asking about Noah's memory lapse. The doctor says the memory lapse is normal, and his memory should come back. Nick tells Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, he's going to go confront Matt Clark, who she wonders may have caused Noah's accident. So Nick thinks that Matt was using Nick to get to them. And he's going to ask Victor Newman, Eric Braden, to send some security, but without mentioning Matt's name yet, so Victor doesn't go off the rails. Nick plans to go find Matt and threaten him. And Sharon says, "Go, go, go." Sharon also doesn't tell Victoria and Nikki about the Matt thing. Nikki says Victor is looking into things from Genoa City, and Victoria thinks they should bring Noah home to recuperate. That aligns with the spoilers that we've got. So they want to know if Noah's in danger, and she changes the subject. They start talking about Claire and Holden, and whether she's getting in over her head with him. Young and Restless spoilers. Meanwhile, Nick creeps into the shadow room, and he eavesdrops on Burrow's grilling Sienna. He asks for her address. She wants to know why. Mitch gives it to them and Burrow says that's very near the scene of Noah's crash. And Burrow wants to know if Noah might have been coming to see Mitch that night. And he's like, "No, 'cause I wasn't even in LA. I was out of town." So interesting. Maybe he was over talking to Sienna or something. So, Burrow leaves and Mitch thinks it's strange that Noah's car accident was so close to where they live, and he's asking why his wife Sienna seems so off. She doesn't like his tone. And then Nick runs up and just punches the crap out of Mitch. So, yeah, definitely Matt Clark. Sharon in peril as Nick confronts a ghost from the past on Young and the Restless. Thursday, November 6th, we've got Sharon possibly in danger. And this worries Nick since he has punched Mitch. It looks like, as I said, Nick's 100% sure that is indeed Matt Clark, and I'm sure Sharon is going to want to confront him soon. So, it sounds like Matt has an alibi if he can prove that he was out of town that night, but that doesn't mean that he didn't have somebody else do his dirty work. Sienna doesn't seem to have an alibi either, though. Meanwhile, back in Genoa City, Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, and Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, are a united front trying to help Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller. And this could be about Claire. Plus, Noah tells his family what he's been up to since they last saw him. And I wonder if Aline Gwynn, Kelsey Wong, and Noah are still together. Genoa City drama. Lily's suspicions and Victor's next move on YandR. Friday, November 7th, we've got Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, impatient. She does not buy what Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, is selling. And Lily may doubt that Kane's AI was even stolen. Kyle confronts Claire when she's back in Genoa City. And I wonder if she's going to admit how close she's gotten to Holden. I do wonder if there's a chance Claire tells Kyle about Audra's theft. I don't think so because it also implicates Holden. Victor is ready to attack his rival using the AI, which means he's most likely coming for Jack and Jabot. Young and the Restless spoilers. What's next for Tessa, Victoria, and the new Noah? The week of November 10th through the 14th, Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks, and Daniel Romalotti, Michael Graziade, are tempted again. Victoria and Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic. Friendship deepens once she's back from Los Angeles. Jack is scrambling to defend Jabot against the stolen AI. Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, and Kane continue to run circles around each other, and Claire is deeply torn between Kyle and Holden. The thing is, Kyle's main selling point at this point is Harrison Locke, Redding Munsell. But I think otherwise Holden is the one that Claire wants more at the moment. For impact, because when Nick Newman's temper finally erupts, the fallout is never small. And this time, it's downright seismic. Long known as the reasonable Newman brother, Nick has spent months swallowing frustration, choosing peace over chaos, and telling himself that family loyalty matters more than pride. But all volcanoes eventually blow, and Nick's simmering anger is about to explode in spectacular fashion. The spark? Holden. And the bombshell confessions he's about to unleash will shake alliances, destroy carefully built lies, and force Nick to confront a truth he never wanted to face. Nick's rage doesn't ignite overnight. It's been building, layer by layer, through betrayal, manipulation, and the creeping realization that he's once again been played by someone he trusted. For weeks, Nick has sensed something was off. Conversations didn't add up. Stories changed. People he cared about avoided eye contact, or offered half-truths wrapped in charm. Nick tried to ignore it, chalking it up to paranoia bred from a lifetime of Newman drama. But deep down he knew better. When Nick finally corners Holden, it isn't planned. It's raw. It's impulsive. And it happens at exactly the wrong moment. Holden, usually smooth and carefully guarded, is visibly rattled when Nick confronts him. At first, Holden deflects, classic misdirection, vague answers practiced calm. But Nick isn't buying it. Years of dealing with Victor Newman, Adam Newman, and corporate sharks have sharpened his instincts. Nick presses harder, demanding answers instead of excuses. That's when Holden cracks. What follows is not a single confession, but a cascade of truths that tumble out faster than Nick can process them. Holden admits he's been lying, not just about one thing, but about everything. His arrival in Genoa City wasn't accidental. His connections weren't coincidence. And his interest in certain people wasn't nearly as innocent as he led everyone to believe. Nick's rage erupts the moment Holden admits he's been manipulating events behind the scenes, subtly steering outcomes while pretending to be a bystander. Holden confesses he's been working angles, gathering information, exploiting vulnerabilities, and quietly positioning himself for power. Worse still, Holden admits he knew exactly how close Nick already was to unraveling, and used that knowledge to his advantage. That betrayal hits Nick harder than any corporate sabotage ever could. Nick isn't just angry, he's humiliated. Furious with himself for trusting Holden, for ignoring his instincts, for once again letting someone get too close. His volcanic rage isn't loud at first. It's icy, controlled, terrifying. Nick's voice lowers, his words sharpen, and Holden realizes too late that this isn't a fight he can charm his way out of. But Holden isn't finished confessing. The biggest bombshell lands when Holden reveals his connection to a long-buried Newman secret, one that ties back to past betrayals and unresolved family wounds. Holden admits he didn't just stumble into Newman orbit. He sought it out, driven by unfinished business linked to decisions Victor Newman made years ago. Decisions that destroyed lives and created enemies. Nick is stunned. This isn't just about manipulation anymore, it's personal. Holden has been playing a long game, using Nick as both shield and weapon, all while pretending to be an ally. The realization that he's been a pawn reignites Nick's deepest fears. That no matter how hard he tries to be different from Victor, he's still trapped in the same endless cycle of power games and collateral damage. Nick snaps. His volcanic rage finally erupts in full force, unleashing years of suppressed anger. He confronts Holden with blistering honesty, accusing him of exploiting pain, family fractures, and trust for personal gain. Nick makes it clear, this ends now. Whatever Holden thought he was building in Genoa City is about to come crashing down. But Holden delivers one final twist. He admits that despite everything, he didn't expect to care. Somewhere along the way, his calculated plan blurred. Real connections formed. Regret crept in. And now, Holden claims he wants out, but the damage is already done. Nick doesn't care. Once a Newman decides someone is a threat, there's no going back. Nick vows to expose Holden publicly, to strip him of every ounce of credibility, and to ensure he never manipulates another person in Genoa City again. And unlike Victor, Nick's revenge isn't about dominance, it's about accountability. Still, the aftermath won't be clean. Holden's confessions ripple outward, threatening to ensnare others who unknowingly benefited from, or were harmed by, his schemes. Secrets that were supposed to stay buried may surface, putting relationships at risk and forcing characters across Genoa City to choose sides. Trust will fracture. Alliances will shift. And Nick, once again, will find himself at the center of chaos he desperately tried to avoid. What makes this storyline so explosive is how deeply it cuts Nick. This isn't just another Newman power struggle. It's a reckoning. Nick must confront the uncomfortable truth that his desire to believe in people leaves him vulnerable. And yet, despite the betrayal, Nick's moral compass remains intact. His rage isn't about control, it's about justice. As for Holden, his future hangs by a thread. Whether his confessions earn him redemption or total destruction remains to be seen. Genoa City has a long memory, and forgiveness is rarely free. One thing is certain, Nick's volcanic rage has changed the game. The quiet storm is over. The truth is out. And in classic Young and the Restless fashion, the consequences are only as bracing for impact as the Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Claire is heading home. And she's not coming back empty-handed. What began as a quiet trip away from town is about to explode into a ripple effect of secrets, suspicions, and emotional reckonings that could shift multiple storylines at once. Claire's return won't just raise eyebrows. It may redraw alliances and ignite fresh conflicts that no one sees coming. Claire has spent the past stretch of time on the fringes of Genoa City drama, watching, listening, and, most importantly, learning. While others have been locked in their usual power struggles, she's been piecing together information that connects dots most residents didn't even realize existed. Now, armed with new insight, Claire is on her way back, and the question isn't if things will change, it's who will be hit first. Claire's journey changes everything. Sources suggest Claire's time away wasn't accidental. She wasn't simply escaping the chaos of Genoa City. She was searching for clarity. During her absence, Claire crossed paths with people tied to long-buried events and overheard conversations that shed new light on familiar faces. What she learned challenges the narrative certain power players have been pushing, and that alone makes her dangerous. Claire's strength has always been her emotional intelligence. She knows when to speak, when to stay silent, and when to let others underestimate her. That makes her return especially unsettling for those who assume she's harmless. This time, Claire isn't just reacting to events. She's bringing information that could expose manipulation, lies, and possibly even criminal behavior. Kyle's suspicions intensify. Kyle Abbott is one of the first people likely to sense that something is different about Claire. Their dynamic has been layered with trust issues, attraction, and unspoken tension, and Claire's sudden resolve won't go unnoticed. Kyle is perceptive enough to realize that Claire's confidence isn't coming from nowhere. Spoilers hint that Kyle will push for answers, but Claire won't immediately give them. Instead, she may test him, subtly probing to see where his loyalties lie. Does he still blindly defend his family, or is he finally ready to confront uncomfortable truths? Claire's information could force Kyle into a moral crossroads, one that pits love against legacy. If Claire reveals what she knows too soon, she risks becoming a target. If she waits too long, the damage she's trying to prevent may already be done. Kyle's reaction could determine which path she chooses. Victor Newman should be worried. Anytime someone returns to Genoa City with new information, Victor Newman's name inevitably comes up, and this time is no different. While spoilers stop short of confirming that Claire's intel directly implicates Victor, all signs point to her learning something connected to Newman operations, past deals, or hidden leverage. Victor has always believed knowledge is power, but what happens when someone else holds the cards? Claire may not be out to destroy Victor, but she could unknowingly threaten his carefully constructed empire simply by telling the truth. And if Victor senses even a hint of danger, he won't hesitate to neutralize it. The real drama may lie in how Victor approaches Claire. Does he try to intimidate her? Manipulate her? Or does he attempt something far more subtle, offering protection in exchange for silence? Claire's response to Victor could define her future in Genoa City. Nikki and Lily sense trouble. Claire's return won't go unnoticed by Genoa City's most intuitive women. Nikki Newman has survived long enough to recognize when the air shifts, and Claire's presence may trigger old instincts. Nikki could sense that Claire knows more than she's saying, prompting her to dig quietly before things spiral out of control. Meanwhile, Lily Winters may find herself unexpectedly connected to Claire's discoveries. If Claire's information overlaps with corporate intrigue or past business betrayals, Lily could be forced to confront truths that complicate her own moral stance. Spoilers tease that Lily's suspicion will grow as Claire's name keeps coming up in conversations she was never meant to overhear. A choice that could change Claire forever. At the heart of this storyline is Claire herself, and the choice she must make. She didn't seek out this information to hurt anyone. In fact, she may have hoped it would give her peace. Instead, it's given her responsibility. In Genoa City, truth is never neutral, it's a weapon. Claire must decide who deserves to know what she's learned. Does she confide in Kyle and risk blowing up their relationship? Does she go to Nikki or Lily for guidance? Or does she confront the source of the deception directly, knowing that doing so could make her a pawn, or worse, a casualty, in someone else's war? Her decision will mark a turning point. Claire has often been portrayed as someone reacting to the chaos around her. This time, she has the power to create it. Fallout is inevitable. No matter what Claire chooses, fallout is guaranteed. Relationships will be tested. Old grudges may resurface. And secrets that were supposed to stay buried could come roaring back to life. Genoa City thrives on buried truths, but Claire's return suggests that one of those truths is about to claw its way into the light. Spoilers hint that the weeks ahead will feature tense confrontations, whispered warnings, and at least one shocking revelation that leaves a major character reeling. Claire may not intend to be the catalyst, but history shows that in Genoa City, the messenger often pays the highest price. Final thoughts. Claire heading home with new information is far more than a simple plot device. It's the beginning of a seismic shift on the young and the restless. With knowledge that threatens powerful players and relationships hanging in the balance, Claire stands at the center of a storm she never asked for, but may ultimately control. As Genoa City braces for the truth, one thing is clear. Claire's return will change everything, and no one will walk away untouched. Genoa City is about to be rocked to its core as shocking revelations come to light regarding Holden's past with Audra. Fans of the young and the restless can expect high drama, emotional confrontations, and potentially explosive consequences as secrets long buried finally surface. Holden's history with Audra is more complicated and more dangerous than anyone realized, and it's about to change the dynamics in Genoa City forever. It all begins with a seemingly innocent discovery by Victoria Newman. While going through some old files at Newman Enterprises, she stumbles upon evidence that ties Holden and Audra together in ways no one suspected. Photographs, letters, and cryptic notes paint a picture of a past relationship fraught with intensity, secrecy, and betrayal. Victoria, stunned by the depth of their connection, immediately realizes this could have serious implications, not just for Holden and Audra, but for several key figures in Genoa City. Audra, always sharp and calculating, had never let her past with Holden slip into the light, until now. Fans will recall that Audra has been playing her cards close to the chest, maneuvering through corporate politics, personal rivalries, and romantic entanglements with unmatched precision. But this revelation threatens to upend everything she's carefully built. The question on everyone's mind is, what exactly happened between Holden and Audra, and why was it kept secret for so long? Flashbacks hint at a complicated past. Years ago, Holden and Audra were more than just acquaintances. They shared a bond that was passionate, complicated, and ultimately doomed. Sources suggest that Holden, then a rising star in the business world, found himself entangled in Audra's life during a critical moment when both were trying to navigate personal and professional challenges. Audra, ever ambitious, saw an opportunity to advance her own position while maintaining a connection with Holden that was both personal and strategic. But as with many entanglements in Genoa City, trust proved fragile, and what began as a partnership quickly spiraled into betrayal. One of the most explosive revelations involves a business deal gone wrong. Holden and Audra were reportedly involved in a high-stakes project that ended disastrously, with accusations of betrayal and backstabbing flying between them. The fallout from this deal appears to have been the catalyst for their eventual falling out, leaving Holden bitter and Audra determined to protect her secrets at all costs. The scandal, though long buried, has lingering consequences that are beginning to resurface now, threatening to destabilize relationships and alliances across Genoa City. Adding to the tension is the effect this revelation has on Holden's current romantic and professional life. His involvement with key figures in the city, including ongoing business ventures and potential romantic entanglements, faces scrutiny as the past collides with the present. Audra's careful facade begins to crack under pressure, and Holden must decide whether to come clean or continue guarding his secrets. His choices could have ripple effects across the entire city, from Newman Enterprises boardrooms to the personal lives of those he holds dear. Meanwhile, the impact on Audra is equally dramatic. Long known for her cunning and composure, Audra now faces a storm of consequences. Will she admit to her past with Holden, or will she fight to maintain control of the narrative? The stakes are high. Reputations, careers, and even personal relationships hang in the balance. As the tension escalates, fans can expect fiery confrontations, emotional showdowns, and possibly even revenge plots that could leave Genoa City reeling. One particularly intriguing storyline emerging from this revelation is the reaction of Victoria Newman. As someone deeply invested in both Holden and Audra's lives, Victoria finds herself caught in a moral and strategic dilemma. Should she confront Holden with what she knows? Or use the information to her advantage in the ongoing corporate and personal battles that define life in Genoa City? Victoria's decisions could shift the balance of power in unexpected ways, creating alliances and rivalries that no one sees coming. But the drama doesn't stop there. Audra's secret past with Holden may also implicate other major players in Genoa City. Rumors are swirling that certain business rivals and personal enemies may have known about the entanglement long before anyone else. If these details come to light, the consequences could be catastrophic for all involved. Deals could collapse, trust could shatter, and the city could witness betrayals that leave lasting scars. This storyline promises suspense, intrigue, and emotional intensity at every turn. Fans of The Young and the Restless should also pay close attention to the emotional toll this revelation takes on Holden. He is a character known for his charm, wit, and ability to navigate complex social and business networks. But facing the truth about his past with Audra forces him to confront vulnerabilities he has long suppressed. Will Holden rise to the challenge and face the consequences of his actions? Or will he attempt to cover up the past, risking further complications? His choices are certain to drive multiple storylines in unexpected directions. Romance, as always in Genoa City, is closely intertwined with business and betrayal. As Holden's past with Audra emerges, romantic tensions between them are reignited, even if fraught with mistrust and unresolved anger. Audra, though cunning, is not immune to the emotional pull of their shared history. The spark of attraction mixed with the sting of betrayal creates a combustible situation that could lead to passionate confrontations, and perhaps even reconciliation or renewed rivalry. In addition to personal drama, this revelation promises legal and corporate repercussions. Holden and Audra's past business dealings, once thought resolved, may now come under scrutiny from regulators, rivals, and the courts. Legal battles, financial investigations, and corporate maneuvering are likely to dominate the airwaves as characters navigate the fallout from secrets that were meant to remain buried. These high-stakes conflicts are a hallmark of The Young and the Restless, keeping viewers on the edge of their seats with each episode. As the dust begins to settle, viewers can expect more surprises. Loyal fans know that Genoa City thrives on twists, double-crosses, and shocking exposés, and Holden and Audra's story is no exception. Every revelation about their past has the potential to ripple across the city, affecting friendships, romances, and business alliances. Secrets long hidden are now exposed to the light, and in Genoa City, the truth is never simple. It's dangerous, messy, and endlessly dramatic. In summary, the revelation of Holden's past with Audra is set to ignite a firestorm of drama in Genoa City. From romantic tension and personal confrontations to business sabotage and legal complications, every aspect of life in the city could be touched by this explosive storyline. As Holden and Audra navigate the treacherous waters of their shared history, fans will witness unforgettable moments, intense showdowns, and shocking surprises that make The Young and the Restless the must-watch soap opera of the season. Secrets, betrayal, and passion collide, promising that Genoa City will never be the same buzzing again. With whispers and speculation after news spread about Noah Newman's shocking car crash. While he survived the accident with minor injuries, the circumstances surrounding the crash were anything but ordinary. As the city reeled from the news, Detective Burrow was called in, ready to piece together the puzzle that no one else seemed capable of solving. Noah, known for his quiet demeanor and careful decision-making, had never been involved in anything remotely dangerous, or so everyone thought. Friends and family alike were struggling to make sense of the incident. Was it a simple accident caused by slick roads, or was there something more sinister at play? Detective Burrow was determined to find out. Burrow's first stop was the scene of the crash. The intersection bore the marks of a sudden, violent collision. Tire tracks slicing across the asphalt, fragments of glass scattered like confetti, and the unmistakable scent of burned rubber lingering in the air. Burrow carefully examined every detail, noting the position of Noah's vehicle and the surrounding traffic signals. It was clear that Noah's car had veered sharply before hitting the guardrail. But why? Eyewitnesses were a mix of helpful and confusing. One pedestrian claimed to have seen a shadowy figure darting across the street moments before the crash, while another insisted they noticed Noah's headlights flicker in a way that suggested tampering. Burrow filed each statement meticulously, understanding that in cases like this, even the smallest clue could prove pivotal. As Burrow interviewed Noah, he noticed a lingering tension in the young Newman heir's eyes. Noah recounted the events leading up to the crash, emphasizing that he hadn't been texting or distracted. "I don't know what happened," he admitted, his voice tight with frustration. "One second I was on Fairview Avenue, the next, I'm flying off the road. It didn't make sense. Nothing made sense." Detective Burrow, seasoned and unflappable, nodded thoughtfully. "Noah, accidents often leave little evidence on the surface. We'll dig deeper, look at your vehicle, any surveillance footage, phone records, anything that might explain what really happened." He could tell that Noah was withholding something, whether consciously or not. Burrow's investigation led him to Noah's car mechanic, who revealed a startling discovery. The brake lines had been partially severed, a subtle yet calculated attempt to disable the vehicle. "Someone wanted this to happen," the mechanic said gravely. "And they knew exactly what they were doing." Burrow's mind raced. Who in Genoa City would have such a precise reason to target Noah? Speculation immediately turned toward Noah's entangled relationships and recent business dealings. Was this an attempt to intimidate him or his family? Victor Newman, protective as ever, began questioning everyone around Noah, from his exes to business rivals, while secretly leaving Burrow room to maneuver without interference. Detective Burrow knew better than to ignore the Newman family's protective instincts, but he also recognized the necessity of staying objective. The plot thickened when Burrow discovered surveillance footage from a nearby gas station. The footage showed a black SUV parked suspiciously across the street minutes before the crash. The driver appeared to be monitoring Noah, and just moments before the impact, a figure could be seen leaning toward Noah's car, as if to manipulate something. Though the footage was grainy, Burrow had enough to suggest that this was no ordinary accident. It was deliberate, calculated, and meant to send a message. Noah, meanwhile, was grappling with the emotional aftermath of the crash. Friends like Mariah and Tessa hovered close, offering support, but Noah's sense of vulnerability was palpable. "It's like someone is trying to control my life," he confessed to Mariah, "but I don't know who or why." The sense of paranoia was beginning to creep in, making him second-guess even the most innocent interactions. Detective Burrow also considered motive carefully. While Victor's enemies were an obvious line of inquiry, personal vendettas couldn't be ruled out. Could someone from Noah's romantic past be involved? Or was a business competitor orchestrating a warning to destabilize the Newman empire? Burrow compiled a long list of potential suspects, each with their own tangled motivations and hidden grudges. A breakthrough came when Burrow analyzed Noah's phone records. Oddly timed messages and mysterious missed calls suggested that someone had been in close contact with Noah in the days leading up to the crash. But the most damning clue was a message from an unknown number sent just minutes before the accident. "Everything will change tonight." It was cryptic, ominous, and unmistakably threatening. Burrow realized the message was likely a final warning, or perhaps even a taunt. As the investigation intensified, Burrow's presence became a calming force for the Newman family. While Victor and Nikki wrestled with anger and fear, Burrow reminded them that patience and precision were key. "Rushing to conclusions will only help the culprit," he cautioned, his tone firm but reassuring. "We need evidence, not speculation." Meanwhile, Genoa City itself was abuzz. News crews speculated wildly about potential suspects, while social media exploded with theories. Some suggested a business rivalry gone too far. Others whispered about revenge plots stemming from past romantic entanglements. Burrow ignored the noise, focusing instead on facts and forensic evidence, knowing that in cases like this, public opinion rarely aligned with truth. In a tense meeting with Noah, Burrow laid out his suspicions. "Noah, someone tampered with your vehicle, someone who knew your schedule and wanted to harm you. The question is, who?" Noah's mind raced, connecting dots he hadn't previously considered. Past conflicts, subtle threats, fleeting encounters, all of them suddenly seemed relevant. The episode closed with Burrow determined to uncover the culprit. As he left the Newman mansion, he was already formulating his next steps. Analyzing more surveillance footage, interviewing additional witnesses, and digging into potential business and personal enemies. The air in Genoa City crackled with tension, the mystery of Noah's crash leaving everyone on edge, unsure of who to trust, or when the next shocking revelation would strike. Detective Burrow's investigation promised more drama, more twists, and more danger. As Genoa City held its collective breath, one thing was certain. The truth behind Noah Newman's crash was far from simple, and the fallout would shake the city to its very core.